There we are.
Boss, long time no see, Mr. Quigley.
How you doing, Chris? My goodness, that was a long intro, wasn't it?
That was, but then good things come to those that wait, don't they, fella?
Absolutely. I think David fell off his chair.
Indeed, you're looking well, fella. Good to see you.
Folks, hello. Welcome to Ulster Rugby Chat and Craic, part of the Three Bod Rugby Group. I'm Nigel QUIGLEY, or otherwise known as the Night King. And with me tonight is Chris Brownfield, who you will all know from the South Wales URSC. How you doing, mate?
Not too bad at all, Nigel. Absolutely loads to talk about this evening. It's going to be loads of fun. We've got obviously a fan and five. We've got to talk about lots and lots about the schools and and stuff and things, and obviously Six Nations, URC games. Loads and loads to talk about. It's going to be a good crack.
Tons of it. That's right. We've Casper VAN DER MERWE tonight for fan and five. Our old friend from who's got to be the biggest ever Cheetahs rugby fan you've ever met.
Without a doubt.
And folks, if you know Casper, or you have just got to know him, ask him to show you his flag and shirt collection. It is something to behold, I have to say. Anyway, just something we want to mention tonight instead of our usual three-bod rugby intro. It's a new innovative. I knew I'd get that word wrong. Rugby ball designed to assist players learning when to pass the ball. And for coaching staff, it's also brilliant for the deaf, visually impaired, tag, etc. players. Now, Big Joe Shep, as Big Joe Shep does, has secured everyone now a 5% discount when you purchase. Just go to buzzballrugby.com, and hopefully we'll have a link coming up, and put in the code 3BODRUGBY in capitals for your discount. And hopefully we've got something now to show us what buzzball is. Dave in the background here shows what buzzball.
I tell you what, I'm fairly sure that Andy Farrell would want to lose for Mikey Lowry last weekend.
We're certain little Ethan McElroy might get that as well. Right. What a piece of kit, actually. It's a great thing for coaching, obviously, for kids rugby, but I can't be the only one that thought, what if that remote delivered a little electric shock here? I wonder, can that be done? And we'll sell one to Joe and say, go ahead, Joe, pass that. Oh, that was terrible. Anyway, guys, as we said, links will be up in the 3BOD group and probably in the feed for the show. Great idea for coaches. And don't forget, you get the 5% discount by entering 3BOD in capitals when you go onto the site to purchase. And the 5% discount is for everybody. You read it here. I'm only reading what I was put in front of me. So have a look at it, guys. Our fan and five tonight is a gentleman. I think we've had him on before, haven't we? Maybe in previous years, back in the days when the Cheetahs were part of the Pro 14. And it's Casper VAN DER MERWE, who is a unbelievable Cheetahs fan, and I'm sure he's coming in anytime now. There he goes. Casper, how are you, mate?
Hi, buddies. Thanks for having me on the show.
Brilliant to see you, mate. Brilliant to see you. Actually, I was just talking to the people about your shirt collection, which I see some of behind you. That's impressive.
Yeah. I've started about 15 years ago with it. It all began in a bet between my son and I. He's a Shark fan, and I'm a Cheetah fan. So the bet was to hang the two flags in front of the house. And the loser's flag must go down to half-mast. So, like the Cheetahs play, the Cheetahs flag went down to half-mast. But ever since then, I've started with the flag collection. And with my first TV show, I had 125 flags. And when Super Sport came and did the first show, I had 148. And up to now, I have 178 rugby flags hanging.
Fantastic. Good stuff.
Tell us what you've been up to. I've seen a lot of videos of you on recently. You were doing a thing with the flags on lots of guys on Harley Davidsons. I recall that. I'm a biker, by the way, but I wouldn't ride a Harley Davidson. Anyway, what was that about?
Okay. I've started a thing for I call it the Cheetah Supporters Fan Day, and that is just to bring supporters together by a place like Oranje Toyota. That's one of the sponsors of the Cheetahs, by their venue, and just enjoying the day. The morning, have a braai there, put up some gazebos with sponsorships there that's helping us. Some of the Toyota players comes there, and then I've invited the Harley Davidson Club, the Hawks of Bloemfontein, just to come and enjoy themselves also with a ride with some of the supporters on the back of the Harley with the Cheetah flag waving and just everything. Most of our supporters is sometimes to forget about the legend players, the old legend players, and that's what I want to try and bring back. I want to bring back the legend players that we forgot about. I want to bring that back, and the people, that the supporters can still remember who played, who won the first Pro 14, who won the first, who scored the first try. And that's what I want to try and bring back here by us.
I'm sure
I went and saw.
Sorry, go ahead.
I went and saw I had a meeting this morning by the Cheetahs as well, with the next one. This is going to be my third one now. The first one, and then the second one by Oranje Toyota, and then I've got the third one that I went and spoke to the Cheetahs this morning. And we're going to join together, and we're going to arrange one big supporters fan day by the union. And that's what I'm busy with. Otherwise, I'm busy with my collection, cleaning. I've got a massive cleaning episode here. I've got about 62 jerseys now as well, which of some of them are signed, a fully signed jersey of some legend players. I've got a jersey, a very old Cheetah jersey. I call it the Cheetah Legend jersey. And that's, I find, I've got 28. I've got 28 signatures on it. And that's only by legend players from 1975, when the Cheetahs first won the Currie Cup in 1975, until now. That's just all legend players on that jersey.
Well, I'm going to ask you a question on the South African side of the URC, and I'm going to be on record as saying I miss the Cheetahs and their fans, if I'm honest, and I do, because I thought they were a great side, they were developing well, and their fans are fantastic. However, what's happened's happened. And how do you think the South African teams are doing so far in this season's URC?
To be honest, I don't think South African teams is going to do any progress in the URC. I don't think any of them is going to end in the top 10. Due to the weather, due to the circumstances there, the weather, they are not that experienced yet there to weather from the weather. We played at against, I think it was Glasgow, that the field was still on snow. They had to postpone the game. So yes, I don't think they're going to do very well, not at all. That's my opinion.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think
they're going to score.
I think most of them don't think they'll do well this season. It'll may take a few seasons, I suppose. They seem to be bringing a lot of big hitters back home as well, which I would imagine has to be good for South African rugby.
Just repeat your question. I didn't hear it. It break a little bit.
Well, I said I think a lot of the initial expectation of the 4 teams fans has been tempered with reality. They thought, a lot of them thought they'd come in and clean up the league. That's not going to happen. They know that now. But I've noticed that they're starting to bring a lot of the big players back to South African teams. You know, we've seen Eben Etzebeth is going back. And surely that's got to be good for South African rugby.
Yeah, it is good for South African rugby. The Springboks is taking on Wales now. I've already booked my tickets on the 9th of July in Bloemfontein. So, yes, they are bringing a lot of Springboks back. And even Etzebeth is going to the Sharks now. It's going to be a stronger team. They're going to, I don't think, but even the most of the players that's coming back is for the Springboks. So yeah, I don't think they in the URC they won't do anything. Not in this season. Maybe the next season. Maybe when they start looking on the weather type there and you know what's going on in URC, but not this year. Not in this season.
And very quickly, what do you think about South Africa for the Six Nations?
I love that. I love your idea. We were in a discussion the other day, and the same subject came up there, South Africa to join the Six Nations. But I think it will be a good one. I reckon so. Definitely.
It'll be interesting. Be interesting to see how it comes afoot, because I think something's in the mix, isn't it?
Yeah, it is in the mix, but then the Six Nations can be the Seven Nations. Then the Seven Nations is going to be 2-3 years. 8 nations, 9 nations. It's gonna grow. It's the same like the Springbok, the outgoing incoming tour. That's the South Africa, New Zealand, in Australia. Then Argentina joined in. Then it was the 4 nations. So yeah, it is. I think it's good to have competition. It's good to bring more competition in, and that's what we as supporters would love to see.
Mm-hmm. Chris, I kept you very quiet, mate.
Yes. Once you start talking with South Africa coming to the Six Nations, I went very quiet. But Casper, it is absolutely fabulous to see you. What is your favorite nation?
Chris.
Casper, what's the favorite?
Are you scared, Chris?
Casper.
Okay, sorry.
What's your favorite piece in your
collection? What is my favorite?
Yeah.
My favorite piece in my collection. Chris, I know you're looking for a nice answer. I've got some favorite pieces in my collection. I've got a confirmed jersey of Marco van der Polo. I've got a confirmed flag from USA from Ruben de Haas. Oh, I've got so many. My whole Pro 14 collection is so dear to me. I can't, I can't actually pick one out. I can't. There's everything here is precious for me.
Yeah. It's a quality collection. I get that answer.
Yeah, it absolutely is. It absolutely is a fantastic one.
Well, I'm trying.
And when does the Currie Cup start?
Like I said,
what do you think will how Cheetahs will go on that?
The Currie Cup already started. It started in January, the 15th of January. We're playing Saturday. We're playing the Lions, and that's our 4th game in the Currie Cup. Then the Currie Cup is when Currie Cup's going to end in June. 25th of June is the finals. Then it's going to start I think it's in September this year again. I think it's in September that it's going to start. Then it's going over to next year.
Right.
So there's quite a lot of rugby in.
There's so much rugby at the minute. I don't know how we can keep ahead of it all. I used to think I watched a lot of rugby until I tried to watch it all and realized you just can't. You know?
Now, Night King, now you must. The sound. Hello. Yes, I'm here. There's quite a lot of rugby on this side as well. Now you must remember, I keep up to date with the Currie Cup, the under-20s, the URC, the Six Nations, and Australian and New Zealand rugby as well. So it's a lot to take in, but at least we are trying to keep it up.
Mm-hmm.
But but in the Pro 14 and URC, I've got 3 favorite teams in the URC: Ulster, Glasgow, and Edinburgh.
All the good northern sides.
And we featured first out of all 3.
I love those teams. I talk a lot with Nicola and Chris. You sent me. I think it was in 2017.
Yeah.
You sent me the Ulster kit.
That's correct.
Yeah.
You replied to me with a lovely flag.
Well, the signing on that I printed myself. So but it's that's what makes rugby so special.
Absolutely.
It's the communication, the interaction with your friends that you make all over in the world.
Yes.
And now with supporters like we are, Chris, I heard you are just as mad as I am. So yes,
he's worse.
I object.
Well, at least I know I'm not the only one.
Well, you're not alone. Casper, you are not alone. You are not alone.
You're definitely
Guys, we'll need to move this on because we've got an awful lot to get through tonight's show. Casper, it's been an absolute wonder to see you, mate. Brilliant. And hopefully it'll not be as long before we get you on for a chat again, because it's always fun having a chat with you, mate. Brilliant.
So,
thanks very much.
That's cool, Vince. Thanks. That's a pleasure. It's nice to have. Thank you guys for having me on.
Yeah, no worries. Speak to you soon. Cheers, Casper. Take care.
Cheers, mate. Keep well, eh?
All right. Thank you. Thanks, Casper.
Excellent. Oh, his collection is absolutely fantastic, isn't
it? It is. And he's such a character, isn't he? He's a fantastic fella. He's on my friends list probably yours as well. So you always see his videos and the things he's up to with the cheers. And my God, what a fan! What a fan! Right, we're going to move on to some news that just came out, and I have to admit I don't have a lot of detail on this. Maybe somebody else will have caught up. That the Sevens and ladies coach, I'm trying to think of his second name at the minute. His second name's Eddie. What's his first name?
Yeah, Anthony Eddie. Yeah,
Anthony Eddie has left his post with immediate effect. So I know there's a report about to come out, a review about to come out. That's all I know. I don't know, obviously don't know what's in it, whether or not that affects it, whether or not that's the reason, but there seems to be a sudden parting of the ways. Have you heard any more about this, Chris?
From what I can gather, there's just been real discontent amongst the ranks, and certainly there's been real disparity, and there was opinions floated about that there was far more presence put into the Sevens than there was the women's rugby, and that caused a lot of unsettlement. But from what we can read between the lines, he has moved to the idea that since the pandemic, he needs more family time and needs to return back to the Southern Hemisphere. It sort of rings a wee bit of John O'Gibbs-esque kind of comments. I think we've had that before. But you know what? Is it right? Is it wrong? women's Six Nations, the timing, and obviously they didn't get into the World Cup. The Rugby World Cup qualification went sideways, and that's probably one of the main factors.
I think the piece I read was hinting at, and I don't know, I've really only read reports on this that I've seen online. I'm not in any way clued into the story that what's and where's, but that perhaps this review that's due may not have reflected him in a very good light. That maybe he's leaving because that's evident, and it's maybe just time to part ways. It'll be interesting to see who replaces him. I haven't heard any names muted as yet, but the news is fairly fresh, so we'll have to keep a tight eye on that one, and hopefully it doesn't upset but actually improves what happens with the ladies, because I remember it's not that many seasons ago that we were lauding them, and actually they seem to have caught a little bit back, but there was just that period in the World Cup qualifiers where they just seemed to lose their way completely. I mean, they were losing against teams that you just would not thought that squad of girls would lose against, and why it was, I don't know. And well, we could go into the where's not. Actually, I'm looking at comments here and saying if we've got any ladies that want to come in and give us a reason why they think it is, because the one thing I loved about them when things were going bad, and we know what I mean here, some of the treatment they were given, the facilities they were given, they were vocal, and rightly so. And it brought a lot of things to a head that I think needed to be brought to a head. And it also taught the RFU that these girls will not lie down and take things on the chin. If they think they've been treated wrong, they're going to speak up, and rightly so, and they'll demand it's put right. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. Obviously, we've got games coming up. We have a squad just announced, which we'll discuss a little later. So hopefully none of that upsets anything in that setup. Would be my hope.
Yeah, absolutely. And talking about the ladies' game, obviously we've got the Danske Girls Schools Cup. 2 County Fermanagh sides. Our Nightwalker 1 is going to be over the moon. The 2 Fermanagh sides have made it into the final for that one on the 22nd of March at Kingspan. So that's going to be a great game for County Fermanagh to come all the way up to Belfast for a day out. It's going to be
I'm just wondering what the Belfast schools make of this. I'm not casting any aspersions on the Belfast schools, but 2 Fermanagh schools in the finals, fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. It is. It's great for the game, and you sort of think, well, that's going long term in terms of. And again, we talked about it 2 shows ago. What's going to take the break, the sort of the stranglehold? It's the top 4 sides again made it through to the final, the medallion shield. Blah blah blah. It's like just what's going to take. But it's great for County Fermanagh to get 2 sides into the final. Absolutely great for the Girls' Cup. In that respect, so good show. We need more of that.
News. Good news, yeah. And obviously we'll be showing a little video a little later on and relating back to Schools Rugby, which I think hopefully people will find of interest. We've had a couple of new signings since the last show, mate.
We have, yes, we have. So the nice ones, the young guys just come up from Armagh and straight into the academy. It's going to be quite exciting. And then there we are, Shea O'Brien.
Yeah.
So it's going to be exciting to see what this guy brings in. And certainly our big French lock that came via the Munster. He came through Munster, didn't he?
Munster Academy, yeah.
And that was he was in D2, wasn't he?
D2, yeah. Nevers.
Right.
Plays for, yeah. And Frank Ryan.
That's
actually, right. It's Frank Bradshaw Ryan. Why he has a double-barreled name, I don't know. But we're going to call him Frank Ryan.
Was it Bernard Jackman was calling him out the other day as a real talent of the future? I'm just wondering how much of his statement, because he's normally bang on. Bernard Jackman can.
He's 6'9", real line-out operator. Does carry as well. I watched his highlights reel,
great.
And it showed. Now it's going to be a big change for him to come to Ulster, and I would argue it's a bit of a step up for him. But he's certainly looking at him. He certainly has a big unit, and he's 26, so he's a good age. and a new challenge for him could be the making of him. That could be the making of Ulster too. I mean, the guy he's more than a line-out operator from what I can see. Although he certainly is going to be extremely useful there. But I've seen a couple of tries he scored, a couple of charge downs, you know, a couple of his carries and passes. He seems to be quite an aware player. And a bit more than, you know, we always used to talk about like big Dev Toner. And, you know, you always say, actual, he's good for his lineouts. No, Dev Toner was about a lot more than lineouts.
Dev Toner really
was a lot more than lineouts. He's very Devon Toner-esque in stature, but actually watching his highlights reels, he's not unlike him as a player, full stop. I think so. It'll be very interesting to see what he brings. As for young Shea, I haven't seen him in because I haven't actually watched an AIL rugby online this year, but it's fantastic to see a club player getting that recognition and being brought up through and brought in, and that talent being identified. I hope they're looking at all the big clubs like this. I'm sure they are. And it'd be brilliant to see more brought through like that. But that's really, really good news to see a young fella like him come through. Yeah.
I'll tell you what, as a fullback, you know, you sort of think, you know, what's he going to bring different? Because, I mean, we Mikey Lowry is becoming a utility back, which isn't necessarily what he wants to be. He wants to be a fly half all day. You've then got Ethan McElroy. You know, you've got Stockdale who can drop in the fullback. So if this guy, Shieldbream, turns out to be an out-and-out fullback, it might be one of the answers we're after.
Well, let's be honest. We could have done with the fullback this weekend because there's one position. I mean, looking at everybody we've got coming back and the strength we've got in the squad, that's one position we're light this week. So it's...
Stuart Moore stepped in the fullback, hasn't he?
He's a fullback, yeah. Apparently, somebody told me they think he played at school. So, and he's a playmaker. He's a smart player. So, I'm very interested to see him. Anyway, right, we're going to go on to women's rugby and discuss the squads being announced. So, we're going to have a quick look at that and see the Ulster input to that. And just to sort of get you in the mood, here's our very own Ilse van Staden from Ulster Rugby in full flight. Anytime now.
That is a brilliant effort.
I tell you what. I seen I remember a video over what planner she came on for Ireland last season. For Ulster. Ulster it was this season. And she's done a much better carry than that, David, I tell you. Yeah. She was knocking them over like Skittles, my friend. But she didn't score on that occasion right enough, so fair enough.
Well, that was a good carry. I like that. That was good.
It was pretty good. Now, so the squad has been announced. It looks a fairly healthy squad to me, but we have, I think it's 6 players.
Yeah, six
including one uncapped, who is Amanda McQuaid.
Is it coming up?
Well, I have it here if he doesn't put it up.
Mr. Topping, where's our director?
Okay, we'll do it verbally until he appears. We've got in the forwards from Ulster. We've got Amanda Quaid, who's from Railway Union RFC, uncapped. Some more familiar names, but ones who I hope will get more caps: Claire Bowles, Neve Jones. We've got Brittany Hogan, and in the backs we've got Catherine Dane, and we've got what is it in the backs? Come on, backs, go Ulster backs. What we're doing? There is another uncapped player called Vicky Irwin who comes from the Sale Sharks, but who is Irish qualified. Other uncapped, Molly Scuffle McCabe from Leinster. Quite a few actually. Natasha Behan from Leinster. And I'm seeing a name there, and I know if I say it, I'm going to make an absolute mess of it, mate. Would you know I'll call it even, but it's going to be wrong, really, from Connacht. Somebody from Connacht, please correct me on that. We've got Aoife Water from Leinster, and we've got Anne McGann from Leinster, again uncapped, and Christy Haney from Leinster. Quite a lot of uncapped players, which I think is really good to see. Although looking through the list there are a few, not old stagers, but ones with, there's a good mix of experience there. But it's a fairly fresh looking side.
So do we think that's come about from the Rugby World Cup being knocked out? Do you think they sort of decided, right, let's try and build for the next World Cup, the Six Nations?
Possibly, let's do maybe a little bit of a reset here and bring some new blood in.
Not a bad plan. There we go.
It's not a bad plan, but obviously we need to look at the coaching now, which is the next thing. Yeah. So obviously a new coach is going to come in. They're going to take this squad on, and I think they may make a couple of changes here and there when they've set their own style and their own preferences on it. But yeah, it's a fairly inexperienced squad compared to previous squads. It actually would have been nice to have had Issa on to talk about this one, but because she would know some of those players, or certainly would know of a lot of them. But really, we're an unknown when it comes to the ladies for a while, I think, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. There's no question about that. And that is something that I need to apologise for as much as anything else. Yeah, I think we need to get someone like Ilse back in, and that might be useful to talk next time around about where we're going with that.
It's a worry, but at the same time, it's an opportunity. And I think, you know, when you've not qualified, that's been disappointing. That's probably led to other things we discussed earlier, very possibly had an input to them. It is the time to clean out with a new broom and get new talent in. So we'll wait and see. Once the games start, we'll see who's playing. It'll probably take us a little while to get familiar with some of the players, and we'll know better after the first game or two where we're at and where they're at. And actually, must get a chance to get a chat with Lisa and see if she knows any of those girls, and take it from there. Right. Okay. So we discussed new signings. Oh yeah, apparently when Leinster come to town on the 12th, Ulster are going to show the England game beforehand.
They are, yes.
I don't recall the last time that happened, but the bar will certainly enjoy it. But that's great for those wanting to go to the game. I think that's a great idea because people don't want to miss that. You know, you'll be traveling up during the Ireland-England game. So I believe it opens at 4:00. I believe the game is at 4:45. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm just trying to find that right now for us.
And that'll be fairly closely followed by the Ulster game. That's going to be a good night, that. But goodness me. Go up sober, I recommend.
It's going to be a hard day. It's going to be a heavy one.
Please don't go to that one drunk, folks, because you'll be thrown out of the grounds or your rollout.
Brilliant.
Right. While we're back on the Kingspan and games, I don't know if David has it there. I certainly hope he does. Did you see the team for the weekend? Of course you did.
We definitely did. Yes, we definitely did. And I tell you what, again, I think it's shown that we have got some serious strength and depth. We're able to rest players. We're able to rotate players. We are starting to get, what are we going to get Hendy in for his third appearance this year in an Ulster shirt? It'd be great to see Hendy back in the park. Andy Warwick, big license, John Andrew, Marty Moore, Alan O'Connor, Ian Henderson. Obviously, we've now lost Dave O'Connor, haven't we, to Ealing Trail Finders for a loan. Who else we got? Jordy Murphy's back. That's great. That'll be absolutely good. Jordy back, Marcus Ray, Nick Timmy's obviously in there again, which is great in the engine room. Nathan Doak, Billy Burns. You know what? Would that be a good game? They've got Mads in at 10, maybe. Starting.
I don't know. But we're relying very heavily on Billy at the minute. There's no doubt about that. And I'd like to see Mads a bit more involved personally, just so that he's got that continuity of game time. Because if Billy picks up an injury, then we're going to shove Mads in there and go.
Yeah.
I'd like to see. So hopefully tomorrow we'll get a good stint off the bench. Yes, I agree with you. I think we need to start starting him in a few games just to get him.
Just to get him 60 minutes on the belt.
Time.
Yeah. Ben Moxham on the wing. Stu McCluskey, James Hume. There's that lovely partnership we haven't seen in ages. Oh, that's going to be immense. But then again, look who they're up against. The two Cardiff centres are absolutely phenomenal in their own right anyway. So that's going to be an absolutely great contest in the centre of the park. They've got Balakine and Stuart Moore. Lovely to see Cooney back on the bench. And I think it's a wise thing to do. Don't rush him out there. Don't put him 60 minutes. Let him just get 20 minutes on the belt. I think that's absolutely bang on. Vermeulen's on the bench.
Oh yes,
he's had a wee rest, hasn't he? He's had 2 or 3 weeks out, I think.
Well, he had a quite a long run when he landed and played, didn't he?
Hit the ground running, didn't he?
He just hit the ground running. So, I think a week or two off for him was probably not a bad thing. Give him a break. What a player to bring off the bench.
I know. I was actually just watching. I don't know if you ever watched it. Beyond the Try Line. 15 beyond the try line. It was after the Rugby World Cup in England, Rugby World Cup, and Vermeulen had the most. They were doing a review of just immense plays over the passage of World Cup, and there was one play, 8-9 combo, Vermeulen, no look pass behind the back in the PNR, set up for it was just stunning piece of play. And I just thought, why is PNR not there as well with us now?
Oh, I know.
Oh, what an 8-9 combo.
But yeah, we are dealing with something that we've not had for years, which is quality and depth. We just haven't had that. And you look at that bench. That bench could have started, and long time since we've been in that position. That bench could have started, and 7 of those other players could have been on the bench, or 8 of them. So, and then there's the players not included as well. Some are not available. We know we're short. There's Rob Little. I think he's unavailable, isn't he?
Yeah.
I think he is unavailable. I'm not sure if it's injury or what, but I'm sure I read somewhere he was unavailable.
He's probably still trying to kick that ball in Newport.
He's probably still, yeah. Oh, dear me. He pulled on the clown shoes for that one, didn't he? I was gutted for him. Mind you, he picked it up and there he went. So.
It was a phenomenal coverage.
And we might get to see a little bit more of young Aaron Sexton, who everybody's been shouting about for a season and a half.
Do you know what? He has just been marked too heavily. Everyone's terrified of him because they know what he can do, and as a result, he's not getting the wheels. But now you put Vermeulen on the park. Well, even Nick Timmy, it doesn't matter. You put Stu McCluskey and Hume in the centre. And then you've got Aaron Sexton or Balakine. I mean, who do you mark? They haven't got 30 people spare. It's going to be a great contest.
Oh, I think it'll be a tough enough game because Cardiff have named a good side. I would expect us to win it, and I would expect us to put up a big performance with that squad.
I'm seeing a try bonus point. I said them all. Mummy asked for our predictions this week when I was back home, and I think I said something like by 27 points, and I'm sticking by that.
Right. Do you know what? I hope you're right, mate. I really do. Okay. Chris said it. You can have your
points. You heard it here first.
Donkeys, you can have your chickens, you can have your tortoises. We use Chris to make predictions, and I'm with him on this. So right, that's good. Okay, yeah. So we're both predicting a win and probably a reasonably healthy one.
Yep.
Let's go. Now, Dromore High.
Yes.
I'm just giving Davey plenty of time here to get his videos synced up.
Dromore High have been on a bit of a run, didn't they? They got 2 out of 3 trophies. They done really, really well.
Fantastic. I mean, they won the second 15 trophy last week and they're in medallion trophy finals. So, in Schools Rugby, they're really coming along. I'll tell you what, I remember when I played club rugby, Dromore Rugby Club was one of the ones you didn't really want to go. Big bunch of farmers, tough big lads. I tell you what, they bar you, So it's great. It's great to see them coming along and on the schools rugby, and hopefully it'll translate to the club rugby because they have got some tough guys. And I say I've been sent packing off the park by them a few times over the years.
I can't believe there were schools when Sam Graham was a child. Look at that. He said he used to go to school. No way, Sam Graham. You'd never been to school. They didn't exist when you were a child. That's right. They sat in the rock and went, "Here's how the world works." Good stuff, Sam. Good to see you, Sammy.
First, Sam. Right. I'm hoping Dave has. We did a pre-recorded interview with Gareth Bronte at Dromore High School to discuss the success they're having and just give us a bit of insight into what they're up to and how they've got to where they are. And I'm hoping David has this one on cue and enjoy the watch, folks.
3, 2, 1.
He needs the countdown. 29. 28. 27.
Has Dave Tobin nodded off or what's happened?
I think he has, you know.
He says to me,
good evening, everyone, and hope you're enjoying the show so far. As part of our look at Schools Rugby, obviously we will be touching on the Schools Cup final in due course, but we thought we'd have a chat with one of the schools who've had quite an amazing run, both in the Schools Cup itself and also in the Medallion Trophy and Second 15 Trophy, and actually winning the Second 15 Trophy. That, of course, is Dromore High School, and I'm pleased to welcome to the show Gareth Bronte. Hello, Gareth. How are you?
How are you? Nice to be here.
Oh, and thank you very much for accepting our invitation to come on the show this evening and have a quick chat. You know, obviously about the school and the success the school has had. Obviously, first of all, congratulations on the Second 15 Trophy win. You know, I believe it was a nice big win against Limavady Grammar, who in themselves had a great one as well. But you know, looking at where you've come from and looking at where we've got to now with the Second 15 Trophy, obviously big wins against Regent and Bangor, obviously culminating in that great win against Limavady. You know, first of all, you know, how do you feel about all that's happened this season?
Yeah, no, it's been really good. Yeah, we've been building for a number of years now. I was lucky enough I'm a Dromore boy. I grew up in Dromore, and lucky enough to join the school about 11 years ago. And back then, we only played in the High Schools Cup. And we started, whenever I joined school, we started up a sixth form, and we got them in there. And we just had one senior team, and we're playing a lot of other schools, second 15s and third 15s, and rugby sort of grew. We had a guy called Jack Bonatti who played for Ballymena and Malone and coached quite a bit here, and he helped the rugby and left about 6 or 7 years ago now and headed off to Dubai. And a guy called Josh Pentland, who's now the head of rugby in Down High, and a good All-Ireland player from Malone. And he sort of started the ball rolling and entered us into the Schools Cup about 5-6 years ago. And we really started into playing Saturday rugby then and entered into the Schools Cup. And the first couple of years of that, we only had one senior team playing. It was hard. We maybe only had 22, 23 senior rugby players. But over the last 2 or 3 years now, it was interrupted with COVID. But you know, we're up to about 35 senior players, and I've got a first and second 15 out regularly with 35 training and putting the first and seconds out every Saturday. And like a really good depth of a squad. You know, we had a good first 15, but with an equally good second 15. A lot of depth in there, a lot of good boys coming through and trying to play the brand of rugby that we did. And yeah, that little cup run for them was excellent. You know, that the firsts had their own good run in the cup, but having the seconds keeping going was really important. It brings the whole squad, it keeps them all training. And yeah, we was disappointed actually to lose to Down High early on, but going into the trophy, a great win against a good Regent side. And then we played an evening game against Bangor, and it was a great game. No, Bangor Grammar are a good rugby school, and Reese Botha has them playing good rugby there. But we got a good win then in that semi-final, and yeah, we had a great day out up in Cambridge House against Limavady Valley. Brought a good travelling support up, and all the firsts came out. A lot of medallions who had their win early on in the week as well, and yeah, it was a great day and a nice way to sort of finish senior rugby for a lot of those boys. Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, you mentioned there obviously the success with the medallion team as well, and obviously the medallion team is the springboard, obviously into the second and first 15s. Do you think that you'll be able to retain a lot of those medallion players, going through up into the senior rank?
Yeah, actually, our medallion year, we're quite low on numbers actually. With just the size of our school, we certainly wouldn't be blessed every year with A and B sides, and probably if it had just been left to year 11 players, we probably would have struggled to get a side out. But we had quite a number of year 10s played up in that medallion team. Probably that in the squad of 23 in the final, I think there was 11 or 12 year 10s in that.
Wow.
So to be honest, it's quite exciting to have so many in that, having tasted a wee bit of experience in the medallion shield and in cup competitions, and having had the experience of going on and winning a final. So hopefully we're able to take those 11 or 12 and add to it. Then the other guys will be added into that, and hopefully we'll have a good run in next year's medallion as well.
Oh, fantastic! And of course, I have to mention your first appearance in the Danske Bank Schools Cup quarterfinals. It's a very impressive run. Obviously looking at, obviously the wins that you had in the opening rounds, and then obviously coming out against the Campbell side who are now in the final. I believe you did give them a bit of a scare. Before they ran out eventual winners.
Yeah, look, it was great. This group of boys in senior rugby, probably we seen this probably way back in 2017, probably 2016, 2017. It was Josh Pentland was there at the time, and we actually organised a tour to South Africa for that group of boys. So we took this year's current year 14s and 13s to South Africa in 2019, and that probably was a big springboard for that group of boys. Really brought them together. Spent 2.5 weeks together out there against some good big hard Afrikaner schools, and that certainly helped us through. And it was a great run. Beating Banbridge Academy or sort of close rivals, and then Regent. And yeah, it was a heck of an experience, to go down to Fox's Field with all that comes with a Schools Cup quarter final. It was the first time certainly our school had been there, and we brought anyone who was there will know we brought a really good travelling support, and the boys really give it everything. We were unfortunate to lose our out half and captain in the Regent game in the round before. Just right at the end, he broke and dislocated his ankle. So that was a loss to us. But, it was credit to our boys, and boys stepped in, and, to have Campbell 12-8, we'd scored to make it 12-8 with about 10-12 minutes to go. We were right in the fight, and to be fair, like Campbell were excellent. They're a good side. Some really good players, Zach Solomon and young Longstaff and stuff. Some fantastic players on that side, and they ran out, and maybe you might say that the score maybe flatters them a little bit in the end, but we give it one heck of a go, and really proud of our boys for that.
Yeah, and just really sort of touching on the pride, obviously these performances obviously lift the entire school, and obviously we concentrate more on the players and obviously the achievements that they have made, and absolutely, I'm looking forward to seeing a few of them, come up through and maybe even hit the Ulster Academy. But what does it mean to the school as a whole to see what you're achieving at the moment?
Yeah, look, it has been massive. This year, when Mr. Pentland moved on to Down High, we were really fortunate enough to get Rob Logan, who came and is our new head of rugby, coming from Lurgan Junior High School. Rob's also the coach of Banbridge First 15 in the All Ireland League, so came with a really good pedigree, and he's done a superb job within the school. There's a real buzz about it, and in terms of his coaching, excellent rugby coaching, but off field, in terms of his social media and coverage, and he's brought that to a new level, and he's really built the excitement around school. Our principal and vice principals are really supportive, and they helped really push the enthusiasm with the kids, and they're buzzing. Very quickly, some chants were made and drums were secured from the music department, and the songs are still buzzing about in my head. So yeah, look, it's been excellent. The excitement in school over the last sort of 2-3 weeks has been brilliant, and more boys, boys who maybe traditionally were footballers, are coming up to Mr. Logan and myself daily, sort of saying, "Is it okay if I come out to rugby practice, sir?" And like, that's brilliant. The more boys we're bringing out onto the rugby pitch and showing them this wonderful game, the better, and hopefully it'll strengthen us in the long run.
Oh, and absolutely, and one can never underestimate the power of a good bass drum, especially in a Schools Cup quarterfinal.
Definitely.
From the experiences I've had, both in following my own team, now in the Skill and Royal Grammar, and once the drum is secured, then all bets are up. Everything is flung at it. I can assure you of that. But you know what? It's about giving kids those opportunities to experience that. You're right. This absolutely wonderful game. Where do you see going into next year, next season? Where do you think you could end up?
Yeah, look, we've quite a few. Look, we lose maybe 10, 11 year 14s, good, solid senior rugby players. But we've quite a few, and especially with that second 15 coming in behind them, we've still got a good side. Like this year's lower sixth, when they were a medallion year, got the medallion plate final, and were due to play Methody that year in the medallion plate final. But COVID sadly interrupted that. So we have good pedigree coming in behind. We've a couple of boys, Nathan Hook, who played Ulster under 18s there during the summer, and another guy, Kyle Sterling, who was involved in the national talent squad as well, and a couple of guys in fifth form as well who are involved in those squads. So we've got good boys coming in behind, and yeah, look, long term, I suppose we're not naive enough to think that we'll be there every year, but we hope we'll be pushing quarterfinals and as often as we can, and further. We kind of said we really would love to be. That's what we're trying to achieve every year, and on our good years, we'd love to make a Schools Cup semi-final on a day out at Ravenhill, if not better. But look, we've a long-term plan in place, and we're trying to grow that. We've another tour organised for next summer, so we're heading back to South Africa next summer as well. So again, to bring those junior boys through again, we've seen the benefits of that this year and going forward. But yeah, look, we're really excited for next year. We're playing some under 17 fixtures over the next couple of weeks as well, just to get a look at everybody, and yeah, no, it's rugby's doing really well in Dromore High School, and yeah, look, long may it continue.
Well, absolutely, and certainly echo the sentiments. We very much hope, to see it at the front of Schools Rugby now for years to come. Look, Gareth, unfortunately we've run out of time for now, but what we'll do is we'd like to we'll obviously keep in touch with you and the school just to see how things are going, and obviously as we get into the new season, we'll be in touch again, and we'll certainly talk with you about where the school's at and where do you think the school will go once we get into the new academic year. But for now, Gareth, thank you very much for taking the time out from a very busy schedule. I know it's always a hard job trying to keep a tab on everything, but certainly we appreciate everything that you do for for Schools Rugby and for the kids at Dromore. So thank you very much for that. Look, ladies and gentlemen, as you can tell, rugby is very much alive at the schools level. We very much hope to see more from Dromore in seasons to come, and certainly as our shows progress over the year, we will try and feature more schools and bring the best of our Ulster schools to you. So thank you very much, and we'll take it back to the studio.
Thank you.
So, you're muted, Mr. Quigley.
Oh, he's on the ball. I tell you, David. I tell you.
That was a good interview.
Fantastic interview. He's funny enough. You're talking about the enthusiasm of the kids, but it's funny that starts with the coaching staff. You can see it in him. It means a lot to him as well, and success breeds interest, doesn't it? They're going well. More kids are getting interested, and a point he made about the lack of numbers in some of the more junior years, yet to still go so far, is pretty impressive in my view. Brilliant interview, well done to him, and we'll certainly keep an eye on Dromore and other schools, but we'll certainly keep an eye on them because they seem to be one that's starting to pop the head above the parapet, aren't they? It's great to see. Right, well, we haven't got everything in we'd like to get tonight, but it's been such a packed show. But we do have a little image we'd like to show you. Now, some of you may recognize the style in this, but we just thought we'd show you anyway, in celebration of a certain young man's first cap for Ireland last weekend. And there he is. That's the one you'll recognize. This image is by a gentleman called Matt McKnight. And yes, there's the latest one, the Mikey Lowry Ireland's cap. Fantastic. Lad had we have to caveat what happened with the Italian game and the players being sent off, but you only play what was in front of you, and I think young Mike showed what it meant to him and what he could do for that Ireland side. And I think he's been rewarded by being kept in the camp for the mini camp this week with no internationals at the weekend. We certainly could have used him at 15 this weekend, but hey, we'll go with what we've got, and I'm sure we'll do fair enough. But well done to Mike Lowry. What a lovely lad. His interview afterwards, it just meant so much to him, didn't it? It was proper.
I think he was the last person out of the Aviva. I think he stayed in the pitch, and the place was empty, and he was on the phone with parents and family, and he was absolutely bouncing money.
He's a proper good lad, isn't he? He really is. He's a lovely lad, and fantastic to see it at last, Mike, and to score 2 tries and pass up the hat trick. Probably thinking about Craig Gilroy when he scored a hat trick against Argentina.
That's not good there, Mr. Quigley.
But but it was what a way to endear yourself to your teammates, by not being greedy. Taking the assured try rather than I'll go for it. I've absolutely no doubt he would have scored that. But classy move by him, and it's yes, that's right. There's another picture that's been doing the rounds, isn't there?
I don't know, is there?
Yes, I think there just might be. Certainly isn't that one. There it is.
Oh, that's a terrible picture. Do we know this boy? Who is this man?
I tell you what, you aged that day, didn't you?
Oh, I tell you what, I was looking fierce that day. I was the only one in short sleeves at Rodney Parade on that afternoon.
I don't know who picked that one, mate, because there was loads of pictures of you at Rodney Parade. So it was somebody's having it there, like somebody's having you there. Oh dear. I think so. Yeah. I'll tell you what, mate. We could hear you.
Well, I was trying to keep the noise down because we were getting upset and Rodney Parade and all that noise.
Listen. Actually, I was watching it here with a friend, and I can't remember who was doing the match commentary, but they actually commentated how loud the Ulster fans were. There must be quite a few Ulster fans here. We can hear them. So
with 67 of us in, it was absolutely fantastic. And nicely the players at the end, even though it was absolutely howling and blowing a hoolie, the guys actually stayed in for maybe 2 or 3 minutes and just give us a really good thank you before they went down the tunnel in front of us. So it was really nice of the guys to take that time out, given how cold they were,
I was going to say not weather too, because that was a dreadful day, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was good.
Absolutely bloody dreadful day. Fair play to you for turning out. Fair play to you turning out. Should give a quick mention to our sponsors tonight. Familiar faces, but class, a lot of them, especially the third one. It's K-Naco Biltong, Hellbent Foods, and 2 non-food ones, which is Auto Door Solutions. That's me, by the way. So, yeah, and Buzzball, whom you've all seen, and I still like the idea of the electrifying Buzzball. That's got an appeal for me. We would like to have got a few more things in. We may look at doing something additional because we've got a lot of stuff we'd like to have got in tonight. We just didn't have the time for. Yeah. But I'd like to thank Gareth for coming on and doing a video. I'd like to thank Casper VAN DER MERWE for coming on, doing the Fan and 5. It was really, really good to catch up with Casper and talk to him again. I think he gauges enthusiasm for rugby in general and cheetahs in particular. Yeah. And folks, I'd love to thank you for tuning in and watching, and I hope you enjoyed what we brought to you tonight. David Topping in the background, who also did the interview with Gareth. Thanks again, David. And Chris, always a pleasure, mate. Look forward to these.
They're too far apart. That's the thing, mate. We end up with so much to do. So just too much in the time we got.
It's just sometimes that's the way it goes, isn't it? A lot of news happens, a lot of things happen, and you can't squeeze it all in. But we were talking in the background there. We may look at doing something else just on the game side of things. A wee extra bite maybe to discuss previews and stuff for the games. So we will hopefully get that done, and we'll look into that and let you know, guys. Thanks very much. Really enjoyed it, Chris. I will catch you next time, and on the old Tinterweb, and. We will sign off and see you around this time next month. We may see you shortly for a while next week. You never know.
Good job.
All right.
Thank you, folks. Stay safe.